What is going on? Welcome back to Trading Stocks. Today is July the 25th. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is doing today. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. Starting off, dreaded GDP is coming out in 29 minutes. So that no doubtably is going to rock the broader market, either save it potentially from yesterday's pullback, significant pullback, or obviously just escalate it so much more. Futures right now are pulling back, negative 0.28 for the NASDAQ, 0.12 for futures. So still somewhat on the edge, as you can kind of see at what happened 4 a.m. give or take. It did have a nice push higher. So in general, it can go up. It just will all depend on data. Right now, though, fear and greed index is at 41. So pretty much it went both extremes for the most part. It went from greed to fear within like a week. So not necessarily the best. So people's appetite for risk isn't necessarily there. I do typically bring up Sofi because of obviously this channel primarily covering it and some other stocks, but this actually did make the list for volume. So a lot of money is not necessarily getting in because futures are red for it, but nonetheless, a lot of volume is kind of interacting with Sofi. No actual news itself, no SEC filings, so it has just been piggybacking off of the broader market, not really getting the FOMO leading into the earnings that I think a lot of people were really anticipating. Based on my video yesterday, a lot of the technicals are pointing for it to kind of hit that mid 650s, which isn't necessarily the best, but again, it will all come down on the data. So today, GDP, then tomorrow you do have the dreaded PCE. So both of which is going to, like I said, kind of shake the broader market. As of right now, though, just watch for 675 to really hold today. On the flip side, if there is a recovery, just watch for it to get above that 721. So those are some key points to watch for. The next couple of stocks are linked to their earnings. So it is now American Airlines on the chopping block, currently down 6.29%. So I was looking at their earnings. Now it is down 5.9. So it is kind of getting bought up because I looked at their earnings and it wasn't all that bad. It did signal obviously some slowing, but they did okay. So I think in general, they're down quite a lot. Not to do so much with their earnings, rather it is more so just piggybacking off the broader market. And so yeah, I think all in all, the whole phrase of recession is being brought up time and time again over this last 48 hours. So I think that is just spooking very much like stocks that is correlated with consumers. So I think ultimately that is why it is down so much. But right now with it at $9.54, it is trading between this S2 and this S1. So 9.48 will kind of be essentially that staring off of a virtual cliff. It does break below that, then yeah, anticipate a lot more pain to be coming. But regardless, it does look like there is going to be a new 52-week low for it today. So just kind of be prepared for that. I do not anticipate this S1 to be touched whatsoever today. So it is just more orienting towards the downside. And like I said, this stock is somewhat heavily shorted. Currently, about 13.3% is that short interest. So once again, shorts probably going to pounce all over American today if data is somewhat negative. So just kind of watch and wait. Ford also did have their earnings, not the best. It is down 12.95%. Their actual earnings, yes, it does justify it to go down. Again, there's also some aspect of the broader market that's dragging it down. It's not that heavily shorted, to 2.9% of the free floats being shorted. And right now, with it at $11.92, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So these are some of the strong support points that you need to kind of watch. So $11.83 and then $11.58. I don't anticipate this $11.58, the S2, to be touched. Rather just flirting with this S1. And then on the flip side, $12.24 is going to be the next strong resistance / target. In my opinion, dependent on the data, again, I could see both of them being touched. So just trade accordingly. But nonetheless, I feel like at least Ford does pay a dividend. So that might be appealing to a certain amount of investors over, for instance, Sofi, which right now it doesn't. Palantir is getting hit quite hard. And so I think in general, Palantir has ran up quite a lot. There was a lot of FOMO, but I've been doing dedicated videos on Palantir under my other channel, Financial Journey. And to be fully honest, a lot of that run has been justified. Big money has been truly buying. Institutions have been keeping it afloat. Very positive options, like all the data points that I like to cover, all signaled for this to be good. It does have a very strong pivot point of roughly around $24 and change. So technically a pullback at what's been happening is still good and still healthy because Palantir's technicals were very overbought. So yeah, it's not down and out. If it does get below that 24.50, like I said, then yes, it might kind of revert back to possibly the $21 to $22 range, or dependent on how fast we go down, it might even go further, but we'll just have to wait and see. This stock isn't heavily shorted, so 3.75% of the free float's being shorted. If you're looking at trading it, with it at 25.97, it is trading between this pivot and this R1, so 24.30 will be the strong support. On the flip side, 26.43 will be that next strong resistance / target. So once again, kind of trade accordingly, and this is kind of that pivot that I was talking on. I think I said 24.50, but 24.30. So yeah, definitely just watch for that. This stock right here did have their IPO yesterday, and it probably was one of the worst IPOs because it went down 43%. Normally IPOs just rocket, and so obviously that's a signal that people, their appetite for risk isn't necessarily there, but it is getting a nice recovery today. So there isn't any news, nothing to justify today's green day. So it is up 19.59%. And like I kind of signaled, all these stocks are getting a lot of volume, not necessarily all buying, but a lot of volume. In Bloom's case, they are getting buying. And just so you're aware, this is what they do. So this is the company profile. Seems very, very specific and niche and unique. Not necessarily something that I would like and invest in, but there's obviously people willing to buy and do all this stuff. This might kind of hit home to some people. So yeah, nonetheless, it is going up. And so there's no point talking about short interest because that's too early. It doesn't have any information on that, and nor is it really relevant to talk on technicals because there's no data. So that is one stock to kind of watch for. So just watch for the whole numbers essentially. So $3 will be the next strong kind of resistance / target. On the flip side, probably around the 250 mark, and then $2. So like I said, the whole numbers, and you can even see yesterday it did kind of flirt with that $3 mark. So you know that's going to be a very strong resistance level, and that's kind of where it stopped right now. And then on the flip side, where it did close roughly around that 250 mark. So yeah, this stock interesting. Same with all the other stocks, but yeah, ultimately GDP in, quickly go back over here, 20 minutes, that will be a point to watch for. So don't forget to hit that thumbs up. One final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Kick-ass deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.